While it might be difficult to imagine a time when a popular game series was but a single game, that time did exist. If only one game exists and a sequel is desired, what next? Do you create something related yet notably different? Or stick with the successful formula used to make the original and add a bit more polish? In the case of the Zelda franchise, the first sequel went a different direction. The isometric view with combined navigation and combat was set aside in favor of an overworld map paired with encounters, palaces, caves, and towns. However, when the next sequel arrived, new hardware was also available. What was old could be new again. The isometric view made its return. The Super Nintendo hardware was exploited, and we had The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I can't speak for everyone, but I had a favorite secondary item in the original Legend of Zelda: the boomerang. The sword is mapped to button A, and the selectable item from your inventory is mapped to button B. For me, the boomerang was the item that I always wanted to have available. I was probably in my inventory more often than most people, as I wanted the boomerang back in hand immediately after needing to use something else. It was, in a way, my Swiss Army knife in Zelda, as it could stun enemies, pick up items, and be thrown in any direction. I was naturally excited to see the boomerang's return in Link to the Past. What I did not realize at the time was how quickly I would cast it aside in favor of something else. Boomerang. Magical boomerang. Hookshot. The hookshot is, in many ways, Boomerang 3.0. It seems to be the next logical step of evolution despite being limited to 4 directions. It can stun enemies, pick up items, and is often required for navigation. I feel like Link to the Past embraced the idea of having a go-to secondary item. In fact, I dare say that more people walked around with the hookshot in hand as their item of choice. This is a sign of good game design, as it provides a tool that can do multiple things and prevents the player from spending a bulk of their time bouncing back and forth from game to inventory in order to make a selection from a set of various unitaskers. The game should happen here, not here. The hookshot helps with that, and is also rather fun to use. Perhaps one of the most obvious features that adds to the gameplay of Link to the Past is the concept of the Dark World, a land that is similar in structure but quite different in nature from the Light World. In addition to expanding the land by repurposing the layout, the Dark World provides new obstacles, tougher enemies, and new dungeons. Progress often requires the need to coordinate a travel plan between the two worlds, as getting from point A to point B may not be possible in one world without the aid of the other. There are constant reminders of this throughout the land. Just as the original Zelda provides food to use to bait your enemies, Link to the Past baits you with heart containers in unreachable places that require you to think fourth-dimensionally if you want to acquire them. This concept of altering the game's setting in some way has been used in the majority of Zelda games that have followed. Some have a very obvious and direct salute to this, while others are a bit more subtle, yet still make a change to the setting. One by way of years, and another by way of days, for example. This idea helps keep things fresh during game progression and perhaps reduces monotony. As a software developer, I have been asked the following 2 questions near the end of a project. Does it work, and is it done? At a glance, you may think that these 2 are essentially the same question. In reality, I think there is a considerable gap separating a yes answer for each. Both questions are subjective. Does it work asks if the software is functional and most bugs are squashed. Is it done is more of a matter of opinion and allows for a bit more pride, making sure some added features or extra details are present. Did you put a bow on it, so to speak? Personally, I feel that they put a bow on Link to the Past. Beyond the combat and the fun items are quite a few details that did not have to be there. Some are obvious, while others are extremely subtle. I'll mention just a few of the many details that could have easily been omitted from Link to the Past. The animated splash and sound of shallow water as Link walks through it. The strain of trying to lift something that is too heavy. An inventory screen that makes a different sound depending on if you open it or close it. Animated flowers. lightning, thunder, and rain that you can still hear outside after entering Hyrule Castle. The fog in the Lost Woods, followed by the sunshine through the trees after retrieving the Master Sword. A different sound made depending on the strength of sword used. And of course, waiting for just the right moment to present the return of a classic theme. The list goes on. I feel that details such as these help add a bit more cement to the fourth wall. They provide immersion. They don't have to be there in order for the game to be good. If they were never there in the first place, perhaps you wouldn't know what you were missing. Is it worth it? I'd say most definitely yes. Developers that go that extra mile to add that little bit of detail really understand the player-to-game connection. The details alone wouldn't make a good game, but they can certainly help turn a good game into a great game. The Zelda library is quite large after 30 plus years, and I hail from a time period when the question, "Hey, you want to play some Zelda?" referred to a single game. I have a great sense of nostalgia for the original entry in the series, and I feel torn between the original and Link to the Past when asked to choose a favorite Zelda game. So I will just have to elect not to pick a favorite, and instead leave you with a perfectly honest answer. Link to the Past is one of my favorite games of all time. Thanks for watching.